It's been absolute tears and heartache here at this funeral service of 17-year-old Palesa Malatji, who was brutally murdered on the 25th of May earlier this year. It's quite loud where we're standing now, right now. There's a car alarm has gone off. Some of the young kids, drum majorettes, are standing right next to us here, paying homage to one of their fellow students who was so brutally taken away. And Griselda, some of the important takeaways that came out of the speeches by both the Minister, Bheki Cele, as well as Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Firstly, what the Minister said was that there were 10 individuals or 10 possible suspects, or he called them people of interest that were interviewed in the past few days. And of those 10, he says what shocked him is that some of them were boys from the school that Palesa went to. And he is saying that it is absolutely shocking that the perpetrators who did this violent and absolutely gruesome crime against the 17-year-old young girl are possibly people who do know the young lady. Now, Griselda, I have with me here the police minister, Bheki Cele, who's just joined us, who's just going to quickly give us a little bit more information. Thank you so much, Minister Cele. You said in your speech that you had interviewed at least 10 people of interest that you identified as having something to do with this matter. Please talk to us a little bit more about that and what you're hoping will come out by Friday next week.
Well, initially police they had information and collected 6 people. As they were interviewing those people, we realized that we had to collect 4 more. What has happened, the forensics people were in the crime scene where they collected the evidence in terms of the DNA. There have been buccal samples that have been taken from those people that have been interviewed by the police. We know them, so instead of detaining them, we wanted to make sure that some of them are linked on that. I was speaking to the police even this morning, and they are busy with those samples in the laboratories, different laboratories. So it's quite a very involved process, because you don't just have to get the DNA from them and have something to mesh with. We'll have to go and hunt the DNA at the crime scene and then get their DNA and separate any other DNA that could be there. Because DNA is a sensitive thing. You could go there innocently and then you identify it yourself. We'll have to eliminate all those that could have been there, innocent and all that, and begin then to match those that are suspects. So it's quite an involved thing, but the police have made sure that by the time Friday comes, we would have found the people that we are looking for, who would have been concrete by then, and get exactly the information we want.
No, Minister, when you were speaking on the podium, you looked so emotional when you spoke about the possibility that some of the 10 people of interest that you spoke to were kids that went to the same school as Palesa Malatji.
Well, yes, there are kids. There are boys that they are at the same school. But it's generic. Why you would be emotional? Because most of the women, the stats that I issue, 10,000 women raped in 3 months. 64% of them are raped by the people that they're supposed to protect them, by the fathers, by the uncles, even by the siblings. So it's a situation where we just don't know how to begin to deal with that matter. Maybe, as many speakers have said, to say, maybe the time has come that we speak to men. Police can arrest, courts can keep you there, everything. But if we don't speak to men, because these are men who abuse and violate the very same people that they're supposed to. And here too, that is the case, because information does tell us that we had to collect some of her colleagues.
Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi spoke, Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi spoke about how we are a broken nation. And this is reflected in, just to pivot a little bit, what happened in the early hours of Glibland's hostel in Umlazi, where 7 people were killed. Minister, what do you have to say about that? What are your investigations saying about that Glibland's killing in the early hours of this morning?
You know, we're in such a violent kind of a situation. You talk about that case, and I know, again, my throat will be cut. When I say I'm a KZN boy through and through, but I'm not afraid to say we have a demon there. When it comes to the hitmen, when it comes to Zinkabi, you go to that province. You see, yesterday morning in KZN, there were 2 shootouts. The one at Westville, where they robbed the men coming out of the bank, and then there was a shootout. Thanks that the police prevailed there. People died. We can't celebrate it, but at a certain given point, police will have to be tough if these guys are tough. That's what happened. Near the airport, again, somebody was robbed, and then yesterday morning, I was in KZN, this happens. That Glibland's, we thought we have sorted it. We remember that early this year, 8 people were given life sentence in the Glibland's, who in the 2011 were killing people and all that. It does look like we regenerate these criminals. These criminals keep coming and all that kind of thing. So while the law and the system works, but the time to speak to the individual conscience of all of us, especially the men, I think we need to work harder on speaking to the individual and human beings to say this can't be the way of life.
Absolutely. Any arrests so far, before I give my colleague Mangoba, any arrests so far, and what are you looking to do overall in that situation in KZN? I mean, you said there's a demon, but something definitely needs to be done.
Well, something is being done. You remember that there was a time in KZN where every week a councillor stroke a young activist, especially the people of the Youth League, were killed. So in 2018, June, we had to put a special team there in KZN to look at especially the political killings. 336 people have been arrested. I don't know if people know that. Since then, 336 of them. And some big number are doing life sentences. Some are doing many years, from a single year to 50 years and all that kind of thing. So we believe that with that kind of action, police pushing back, life will be better. But at the present moment, we still have to speak to the conscience of human beings rather than converting South Africa to prison. 44% is what is overpopulated in the South African prisons. So we can't have everybody arrested. We'll have to speak to people sometimes to say we'll have to do things in a correct way.
Minister, how do you concern though about the number of in terms of these incidents being reported in recent months and weeks?
Well, we'll be always concerned about the mass shooting because they kill more than one person in one crime scene. But also, without really excusing ourselves, it's some kind of international phenomenon. America is much worse than us. When I remember that in March we had about 11 mass shootings in South Africa. America has 130 by then in March. Unfortunately, in America they are having legal firearms. In South Africa we have illegal firearms. We have put in order. We are working on reducing firearms. You would know, I always see you there in Okayamulao and all that. That has been put and spread in the whole Republic of South Africa. Every weekend, from Thursday, there is not a single police that is in the office. They must be there, all the boots on the ground, and make sure that major things that we want there are those illegal firearms, are those outstanding criminals that are supposed to be, but also preventing at places like ship-ins, because ship-ins are giving us a lot of problems, and finding those people that they take upon themselves that come the weekend, they'll cause trouble in the country.
But does it say something about our crime intelligence Because, I mean, these incidents are not prevented before they happen.
Well, I don't know why you can't find the prevented incidents, because they are. Only last week in Soweto, we arrested 7 people. One was shot. There was an exchange of fire there, and those people were found in the base. And 3 months ago, we found 9 of those people were killed in Sebokeng. We found them in the base. That thing happened in Midrand. We found them in the base, 23 of them. That is intelligence driven. Even before they get out, that famous one, I think it's Roseville, where 8 of them were shot. All those are intelligence driven. That's why those people are found on the base, even before they leave the base, even before they're at the place where they're going to commit crime. So to say intelligence is not working is not very correct, because there are quite several operations, by the way, that are intelligence driven and are quite successful if you look at the response of the police at the present moment.
And just a final question from the Minister, the police officer.
All right, the police minister there, General Bheki, at the funeral of the 17-year-old learner, Palesa Malatji.